Okay. Well, if you can hear anything in the background, it's not my problem. Well, it it is my problem, but it'll go away in a couple minutes. I've had this machine for forever and I still don't know how long it takes. I forget. Anyway, hi, how is everybody doing? I might turn this off because my yeah. I might turn that off. I'm gonna turn chat and the overlay off today because we're gonna be going through the whatchamacallit, this thing. This num nums. We'll be going through this and the special program, and we'll be kind of like, you know, I don't want anyone to miss anything because it's getting covered by the chat box, so you know. Anyway, hi, how you doing? How's everyone this morning? Yeah, there is a lot to recover. A lot to cover. It's still morning. It's okay. Okay. I don't want this like really loud, but there we go. Lore implications of hydro otters. Yeah, oh yeah, there's the IGN thing too. Let's go grab the IGN thing. Because if we don't grab it now, I will totally forget it exists.
How do you know PlayStation?
Shush. Where is the IGN thing? Oh, it's right here. Right here. This is where I reveal that I don't have YouTube Premium. And now I have to wait for ads.
Cool.
All right. So we've got this one. If you guys don't know, apparently right after the live stream, IGN put out this little video and it has like a bunch of additional gameplay stuff. So, yeah. Who needs premium when you have a bad button? Yeah, well, okay, so the thing is I don't use Chrome much for anything. I'm usually in Opera GX for like most of my YouTube browsing stuff. So like all of my configurations are over there. But it's also all like my personal accounts are up there, and I've got like all 15 different Google accounts linked in there, so I don't want to use that for streaming. Which is why I'm in Chrome, is because like this is a pretty blank slate overall. It is a pretty blank slate overall. I actually have not seen this. I didn't go look. You kind of get Alps vibes from these mountains. Oh, that's right. They showed us the statue of 7 finally. So that's cool. I forgot I can't zoom. Where did we leave it in the last region? That the I think we left it that the original archon was a statue of 7, didn't we? Or at least I think that's where I landed, because it didn't look like the current Nahida, but it didn't really look like Ruka Devada either. It kind of looked like her aged down version after she sealed Deshret. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, is this Focalor? We shall see. Although I have to say, like, when it comes to Focalor, she kind of confuses me because she's like the first one that's, well, we can't do a clone, we can't do a twin, and we can't do the fake out, oh, I'm not actually an Archon. Just kidding, yes, I am. Because they've done all those before, right? So they've got to do something different. And we know where the Hydro Archon died, the last one, and we know how, and we know where the rest of their body is. So Focalor's is weird. Oh, right. She calls it folklore now. I'm pretty sure that Nahida said focalors. But in the trailer, she said folklore. Interesting. Interesting. So the thing that I'm thinking when it comes to folklore, this is a little theory. I'm thinking she's probably pretty related to Oceanids. Farina, hold up, let's see. Farina, yeah, there we go, is actually this. It's she was like a goddess of springs. So she was like a water goddess, but she's like a minor water goddess. And we don't really know, I don't think yet, what the former Hydro Archon was. But she seemed to be like, if she was related to the Amrita, I feel like the Amrita kind of like supersedes a minor goddess of springs. Just because the Amrita is supposed to be like this source of purity, absolute purity, and also like how do I say, my memory's failing me today. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I was thinking of Soma. Yeah, all right. This is what I was thinking of when it came to the Amrita, where it's considered another name for the Soma, which is like the drink of the Devas, which is like a beverage that grants them immortality. So it's like this absolutely pure drink, highly skilled, magical, all that kind of stuff. So like you compare that to like a minor goddess of basic springs, and even if she has some sacred springs, it's interesting that like we've kind of gone down a notch, right? But the theme around water, especially with the Oceanids, is like they can merge together and form new Oceanids, bigger Oceanids, more powerful Oceanids like Rodea and Idea, technically. And like you can see how like the Eidolons work and everything else. So like I'm looking at Farina being like, I wonder if the former Hydro Archon was like one big Oceanid, right? And maybe they had an internal disagreement, and because Oceanids can be so easily poisoned by weaker minds, I wonder if the Hydro Archon actually split into two Oceanids, and one of them stayed behind, and that was Farina, and one of them went to the Vorukasha Oasis area and then died. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of the relationship there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, the current Archon and the former Archon look the same. Kind of like hive mind. Yeah, a little bit. I had a really long discussion on Discord where apparently it's not a hive mind. When a lot of minds merge together into one, it's like a collective consciousness, like very different phrasing, I guess. To me, it's a little bit semantics, but yeah, it's the same idea. Like, you know, a lot of minds merging into one to create a brand new kind of entity. That's kind of the idea. So there is an Oceanid in the live stream. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. It had very dragon vibes to me, anyway. I wonder if riding the Aquabus is gonna get... Oh, cool. Hold up. I haven't seen this before, so I don't know anything that's in this one. So this is her sword, which looks quite a bit like the scales in the courtroom. See, the hair is pretty similar to Farina. We'll see. Land of Fair Springs. If she's a goddess of springs, then there you go. Oh, okay. It is very pretty. Look at that. This is kind of what I thought Mondstadt would look like. And if I look back on my memories without actually going there, this is kind of how Mondstadt feels in my head. I am really excited though, because this Fontaine looks, hold on. I gotta do another really quick Google search. Hold on. That I can never remember the name of. This one. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have played Tales of the Abyss, but friggin' Grand Hawkma, yeah, that one. Fontaine reminds me of Grand Hawkma, like a lot. Like even you see what I mean? It's just got a lot in common, which is awesome for me. I am in the wrong tab. It's awesome for me because I love Tales of the Abyss. I'll take whatever reference I can get. I don't even think it's an intentional reference. I think it's accidental, but I like it. Yeah, color palettes, everything else, but also like the waterways up top. This is probably the first one that really feels like a city to me, like a modern city, which makes sense considering the era that it's in. Yes, the sewers take us down below. I like this music. This is good. It's got a good vibe. Yeah, okay, so this is a tavern. You take a look at it. Okay, so one of the things I have mentioned before is that I think Navia is more connected to Linny and Lynette, and I had that whole like cabaret theory, right? I think Navia is definitely in that line, and I got a lot of slack on Twitter, which is now dead, rest in pieces. I got a lot of flack on there for saying that Navia might be like a rich debutante kind of thing, because Navia is also the like species name for pineapple. This one, yeah. One of these is pineapples, and pineapples were like really expensive during this time period, and also a symbol of wealth and affluence. People used to rent them, and they were like $8,000 a pineapple back then. And most people are just like, well, I mean, Navia just means navy in Italian, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's valid. And I know she's got like the ship steering wheel on her hip and everything, but she's yellow, okay? She's yellow, and when I look at a yellow like fancy woman from this time period, I'm just like, oh, you are a pineapple lady. But even then, it's like, where do you think the pineapples came from? They came on ships. That's how they got here. But sidetracked. But if you look at this, like on the back of this anchor, it looks like the ship steering wheel that she has on her hip. And this looks like a tavern, like an underground tavern, which is what original cabarets used to be, for the most part. So I like the idea with all of it. Like all of the above. What is this? I guess I could have just waited till it pulled out to see the whole. It's okay. Celestia's right over this. It really bothers me that Fontaine is elevated so high. Does it bother anybody else? I guess we'll get there. I'm also really concerned this is going to be so slow when swimming. I hope it's not as slow as it looks. One thing I did mention on the live stream reaction thing that I'll bring up again in a bit, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited for underwater exploration, but at the same time, I'm slightly worried just because it looks really slow. But it does mean that everyone's going to be on more or less the same level during exploration, which I kind of like. Because it's a lot harder to complain about, wow. Look at all the fish, holy. That's really hard to render, can I just say. For them to be able to do that and for you to be able to swim in and out of it smoothly is actually impressive. I wonder what that's gonna look like on mobile. Oh, this looks really cool. Mobile game, yeah. After seeing some of the reactions to the 4.0 live stream, I have like a whole rant. I have a whole rant about expectations versus reality that maybe we'll get into if I get really upset, but we'll see. All right. We won't do this one on here. We'll open the thing properly. Actually, before we do that, I'm sorry. I've got like the attention span of an ant. This is how I write theories. It's just bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. This was something I actually wanted to mention. So after we got off the reaction stuff and I was hanging out on Discord, it was brought to my attention that you see this ship over here, and there might actually be a few more. It was brought to my attention that maybe actually we could scrubby slide and see if we can find her. Hold on, let's find it. We'll go through the whole thing properly, I promise, but I want to find something somewhat specific. Yeah, down here.
Army of Gardamex. I believe this is indeed.
There we go. That's what I wanted. So I hope I'm saying her name right. But this is it Clorinde? I don't know if yeah. I think it's Clorinde. This is is it Iron Spike or Iron shoot. What is this called? Sting. That one. Yes, that one. Yes, good word. No, not it. Oh, is it Clorinda? Oh, okay, that sounds better. Or Clorind? I'm getting conflicting statements. Oh, it's Clorind. Okay. Clorind? Clorind. Okay. Get a French. I am French. Thank you very much. I just don't speak it. So I don't feel bad about butchering the language. All right. Well, anyway, this fancy lady is a master duelist. Okay. So fighty, fighty, go boom. Child really wants to fight this person, right? Now, Iron Sting is a weapon that tells the lore of a guy from Mondstadt by the name of Parsifal. I'm gonna wait. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this theory of mine, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about why Child's probably here. I don't know if you guys remember this here. We talked about how Child could be descended from this guy from Parsifal, right? So we get to friggin' Fontaine. There's this lady here. She's using Parsifal's weapon effectively. We've got crashed ships on the beach, and we know that this area elevated at some point in history. So considering he's here and he wants to fight her, I'm just wondering if we're getting any sort of like crumbs to support my absolutely crack theory on Child being related to Parsifal. Now, I will also say that Child is also probably here, not just on Fatui business, but I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the desert, you can find this guy from Fontaine named Julian. And Julian, actually, we could probably real quick pull him up. Julian here, this guy, the artist guy, got his whole like weird color issue with his painting from a character named the Caterpillar. Now, the Caterpillar has basically no lore associated with them, but given that we have Alice, who is obviously a very potent reference to Alice in Wonderland, and now we've got the Caterpillar, and we've now we basically got the Caterpillar, right? The Caterpillar was a pretty important. I won't say that they're like ally. An ally of any type. They could have had that morally gray character just kind of like doing whatever it wants. I'm looking at this as evidence that we're going to get some hexenzirkel lore when we get to Fontaine as well. And in addition to this, we also saw in the 4.0 trailer, where did they move to the tea set area? Like about halfway through. They were actually just eating in a cafe with all of this tea set stuff. And we know that Alice and the Hexenzirkel love tea time. And considering this theory I had on Child and Parsifal, also related him to the witch known as Circe and also Skatiak, and it painted him as Cucullin. The Circe Skatiak connection there, I think she's also a member of the Hexenzirkel, and that's why I think he's also probably there. I think he's also going to be there to sort of introduce us to them. So, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to mention that because this is funny to me. When this was pointed out to me, I laughed so hard. We can't escape Parsifal. It's impossible. Why am I pronouncing Kirky like that? Because in English, that's how we say it. We say Circe. It's funny. Phonetics are very fluid. And Skaha, I mean, so Skaha is interesting because it really depends on what dialect you're using when it comes to pronunciation. I really struggle moving from written letters to oral ones. sometimes when it's not familiar to me. A lot of Gaelic words I have a really hard time with. And so I went and I found an Irish guy, an old Irish guy. And I was just like, can you help me with my pronunciation in a way that will actually help me when I read this, not stumble? And he gave me the pronunciation of Skatiak. So that's what I'm going with, because I can read it and say it without stumbling. I can't read Skatiak and then say Skaha. I can't do it. I'll stumble every time. I'll stutter. I'll say it wrong. Anyway, it's a mess. I know Cersei is Greek. That's the point. Did you see the 4.0 trailer that Child lost his vision? I think you'll find he's not the only one without his vision. I know in Greek it's pronounced Kirky, but in English, if it's spelt with a C, it's pronounced Cersei. So if you go to an English classroom, they will say Cersei, and that's how I end up reading it too. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So anyway, let's see. I wanted to prove that we're missing some visions on other characters. So here, I don't know if you can see this. This is probably not a great shot, but Linny does also not have his vision here.
Now, blink and you might miss it.
And you can see this is where his vision is, right here on his bow. So pay attention to this as we go forward. We're gonna watch through this a little bit.
Step right up.
I've only actually gone through this once, and I don't remember where anything
and over
is.
Here is my sister Lynette, who will be working as my wonderful assistant.
Ta-da!
What are they barking at?
Step on up.
Lynette looks so much fun.
Let the magic begin.
All right. Sorry, I was this is such a cool shot. I don't know where this is, but it's a really cool shot. Waiting. All right, I mean we can skip ahead a bit. I think these are all like oh yeah, there's Fremine. Some more underwater stuff. Oh my god. My dogs are barking like it's nobody's business. Oh, that's because there's a dog outside. Okay, well, that's fine. I'm sure their owners will show up. I think it should be in this shot, yeah?
It won't be long before it swallows us.
We've been trying to find out.
She's been wondering.
Be long
Hold on.
before it swallows us.
She turns around. Where is Lynette's vision? Again, I've forgotten. Where is Lynette's vision? On her bow. Okay, hold up. It's gonna turn around. So no vision. Because it should be right here, right? So Lynette does not have her vision
We're
here.
trying to find out how the oratory
Linny doesn't have it here either.
Why it has a consciousness? Why can it deliver sentences accurately?
Rain. It's raining.
Now we'll talk about
We
that
must
too.
know all we can about this nation and secrets in
Hold on.
order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
So no vision here.
Is this part of the show?
You gotta be kidding.
Oh wow. I guess I didn't realize that like her clothes were still there. But her body vanished. You guys see that? I didn't even notice that. Her whole body's gone. Why is rain weird? We'll talk. Hold up.
Kidding.
Charges have now been pressed, and as such, a trial is in order. Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the guards.
Dear God, it's a whole army of
She's outside. She
Gardamex.
has her
I believe
vision.
This is indeed the finale.
Got a vision.
Your so-called justice, your beloved drama will turn.
In your eyes, the value of a human life.
We'll go through
is
this again, I
nothing
promise.
Compared to those cold laws you hold so dear.
The child's missing his. So the instances where they have
What a joke.
no vision are either in the courtroom or in the opera house, which I think the courtroom is the opera house. So maybe there's just no visions in there. Why are we looking at visions? Because people are missing theirs. Yeah. Well, a delusion doesn't take the same probably doesn't have the same requirements. Like it probably doesn't. It's not subject to the same rules. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a vision hunt decree. I think it's more like you know what? You know what I bet it's a reference to? If you go into a courtroom, they don't allow you to take cameras and phones and stuff in the courtroom. You have to check them at the door, right? I bet you that visions are what this is. Like you have to check your vision at the door. And I think that's kind of funny because vision, eye of God, camera, it's kind of like an eye. Yeah, and also no weapons allowed. Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's something more like that, in my opinion. Does Fossilor have a vision? No, I don't think she does. You look at her hip. This is probably what you would consider a vision. It's just a gem. Probably what child means in the trailer when he says he has his own rules. He activates his delusion. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And also it's kind of interesting because a traveler can't do any, like, the traveler can't turn anything in, right? Like their whole body is basically a vision. So I think that's kind of funny. Did he activate his delusion or foul legacy? Child is a bit weird because it's hard to say. Like he's got three forms where he goes from having his hydrovision on his belt, but then if he goes to his electro form, which is what he was doing in the courtroom, the vision shifts and turns electro, but it's in the same spot. But then in foul legacy, he ends up with two visiony things, right? Like he's got the delusion on his chest and then the vision is again on his belt. So it's weird. He's kind of weird in that way. I don't know why it does that. It's hard to, anyway. What is Child doing in Fontaine? Scroll back in the timeline. We've already talked about that. Aren't most legal statues usually blindfolded? Yeah, I guess Lady Justice is usually blind. I know what you're talking about. I just need to stop typing it up here because it's just an extra click. You're definitely thinking of Lady Justice. And yeah, she's usually depicted as blindfolded with a sword and scales. So, I mean, that's obviously who Fossilor is trying to reference here. Like, no doubt. There couldn't be a more obvious reference here. Also Themis. Yeah, also Themis. Themis, I don't know. Themis. Thalamus. Okay. I can tell that some people haven't read the rules in the description here. Guys, I don't mind if you ask the same questions multiple times because obviously I can't, the way chat how fast chat goes. Sometimes I can't keep up with it, and so like I don't mind if you ask your questions again, but if you're asking it like every 20 seconds, I'm going to ignore you and I will time you out. So just know that like it's not a good experience for everybody else. Why do her eyes have different colors? Probably because of the whole Pneuma. Is it ousia or ousia? I don't actually know. Let's find out. In biblical Greek.
Ousia.
Ousia. Okay.
Ousia.
We'll go with that.
Ousia.
Ousia. Okay. Pneuma and ousia. Interesting. Why is Lynette a cat when the rest of her siblings aren't? I'm not entirely sure that they're as sibling connected as we might think. But anyway, Lenny is a Cheshire cat. Yeah, I mean probably. They also their cats kind of look like Homu, this guy. which is a mascot of MiHoYo. I just think that's funny. We can make these go away now. I don't need them anymore. Homu. Yeah. They're just orphans together, though. I think Fremine might be, but Linny and Lynette should be twins, like actually twins. A recessive gene. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. There are a lot of possibilities. We're gonna go back to the beginning though. There's some interesting stuff. Oh.
Do you think the prophecy is actually related to Fontaine's tectonic plate possibly shifting? Maybe the incident mentioned about research facility in Bottleland is causing this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, first for the super chat. Thank you very much. But thank you for reminding me. I talked a little bit about this in the whatchamacallit. I talked a little bit about this in the reaction thing. I don't do reactions often. I forget what they're called. This one. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. Oh my god. What an appropriate ad. I don't know if you guys remember this or how if any of you were playing during this time, but this was the Golden Apple Archipelago event from basically version 1.6. And you'll notice that when they arrived in this area, there actually weren't any islands, right? The entire thing was completely water, right? And they had to essentially raise these islands out of the water. And it was often described as the sound of mechanical gears shifting when this happened. Especially the very, very first time. Because this cutscene's actually the second time.
What's happening?
I have the video I could go pull up. It's just annoying to go find it. But essentially, Alice had taken all of these islands and put them underwater. Like, completely submerged them. Right? And she had done it as almost like they were a bunch of machines and she had just lowered the hand crank, right? So the fact that you could just make these islands rise out of the water, no, Alice did do it. See, here's the thing. These islands at one point were all at this level where they're all like big and stuff and above the water, right? They were all at that level, but Alice then came here. She put in a ton of puzzles and games and the whole mystery thing in the island resort for Klee for her birthday. And then she lowered all of the islands back down under the water. Because when we get there, all the islands are back underwater. So when we remove these big metal pins, we actually blow them up with the Wave Rider, all of these islands start to come up, which is wild, right? And when we look at Fontaine, right, this place being so high up, that's all I can think about. Ah, yeah, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Like the raising of Chicago? What? What? Maybe I should just go grab the video. Do you guys mind if I grab the video? Hang on. I kind of wanna grab it. Because I don't know where it is in anyone else's playthrough on YouTube. But what if I just go get it on my machine? Hold on. 1.6, Apple Archipelago. Let me see. Is it this one? Is this the one with the pins? I think this is one of the ones with pins. That is not the right one. Oh yeah, wait, no, not this one. It would have, okay, actually it's like it's the one right before this one. One right before this one.
It's traction. Even on a mysterious.
Okay.
This doesn't look. This feels like pine. Barbara's drunk on for night. So could assemble.
Yeah, okay, here are the pins.
That is, we were
found them.
I will face it head.
I found the pins. I found the pins. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna swap real quick to this one. Oh no, will this not play? Oh dear, that might be a problem. Oh, it won't play. That's so sad. Okay. Never mind. I just wasted everybody's time. It's okay. I'm just gonna be sad on my own. Okay. Well, that's annoying. Using VLC, yeah. Yeah. I guess they don't like it. Well, I wanted like literally the 2 minutes of gameplay before this cutscene, which is annoying. Oh, this is the trailer for it.
What you're about to see is real.
Okay. That's fine. First day specifically. Yeah, I think it's in here. This has all the parts in it. I know where it is. Like you oh, for frig's sake. You just hit this metal pin and then all the islands come up. We get Jean's skin. Okay, here it is. Right here. So we go to the boat because there's like these little islands, very tiny islands, right? That's what we saw before. Very, very tiny islands. And you see these pins? Oh, they're not even going to show them. I'm so upset. But you got to blow up these pins. And then once the pins explode... Oh, there's another one over there. And they kind of look like swords, which is funny. Looks like something sunk to the seabed.
I messed up on the last super chat, sorry. Anyways, rewind and look at Focalore's symbol on the bottom of her shoe, where she's sitting and welcomes the traveler.
Oh, thanks to the super again. You didn't have to do that twice. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Just 1 second. I just wanted to drive home a point really quick. So after they blow up those pins, it's like the sounds of mechanical gears happen, and then all of the islands raise out of the water. And it becomes a theme going forward, especially because later on, like in the second Golden Apple Archipelago, one of the islands flips over. Which is fun. So anyway, that's what I think's going on in Fontaine with the fact that it rose, especially because I've got too many tabs open now. When we say it rose, I actually think there's mechanics under there, like literal mechanical gears that lifted this whole thing. It was flipped over in 1.62. No, it was not flipped over in 1.6. In 1.6, they didn't have the actual observatory. It wasn't there. It was a very different island. Anyway, yeah. So we've been told to check Focalore's shoe. Where was Focalore's shoe? Oh dear. Ish. Somewhere around here. Somewhere around here.
Charges have now been pressed.
Oh, at the start?
As such,
Was it the start? Wait, really? Where? Oh,
Welcome you to the
I see. Okay. It's just like not on screen for long. Okay. We wanted to look at her shoe. Okay, I mean, that looks like a sword to me. I see a sword. Wow. Sorry, I'm just looking at all this stuff. Looks like a bug, a noses, a bird sword, a crow, a scale, an anchor. Yeah, I think it's just a design. I think it'll be kind of hard to say anything else until we actually like see it not blurry. Yeah. I want to go to the very beginning though, because this is interesting here when this opens up.
I'm not sure exactly when it began, but a prophecy has been circulating around Fontaine. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne.
I kind of wonder with that, right there, the whole Oceanid thing where they can all merge together into different things. Like, if people dissolve into water like Lynette did, right? If they do that as a result of something that Focalore is doing, I'm wondering if like that's sort of a process to have everybody merge into one, right? Like Destrit tried to do this in the desert, tried to merge people into one to create this sort of like hive mind consciousness sort of thing. I wonder if Focalore is doing something kind of similar intentionally or unintentionally, but regardless, I think the really hilarious part of this is that if you merge everyone into the sea, which is more or less what's happening, you end up with an Evangelion reference. Just like, which is fun. Which is fun. I mean, yeah. Because, like, that was basically what people did in Evangelion. They all kind of just melted and became one into the primordial ocean, right? And then time starts again overall. And it's part of the Human Instrumentality Project, which is hilarious because of how much Scaramouche is a reference to Shinji. And then you have friggin' Asuka basically just being child gender bent in a Hoyo game because they really, really like her. Which is probably another reason why Child's here. Hoyo just really loves Evangelion. I don't know if they'll like do like a true instrumentality sort of thing with it. I kind of doubt it for the purposes of Genshin for now. I don't think they'll do that in what you call it? Excuse me, in Fontaine. But I think it's a neat little Easter egg. I think it's a neat little Easter egg. Where did I go? I need to like close some tabs here because I'm losing my train of thought. Do I think Scar is going to be in 4.1? I kind of, you know what? I kind of would love for Scar to show up in Fontaine, even if just for like a little bit, because it seems like there's going to be so many Fatui here. We've got Arlecchino, we've got Child. There's a strong chance we're going to see a Syndrome at some point. But I don't know if you guys know this. We're gonna see if we can spot him. I've seen some blurry screenshots. We need to find him. There's one more Harbinger. There's one more. There he is. There he is. He's right there. You guys see him? Do you guys see him? do you guys see Dottore? Right here on this boat? I mean, it might not be Dottore because it's kind of small. It's a little blurry. But the thing is, like, it's got the right silhouette for it. So that's 4 Harbingers potentially, right? Wait, no. Oh no, sorry, it's 3 Harbingers plus I want to see the 4th. I want to see. Yeah. It does match the outfit. It's just like it's a little difficult to see. I personally think it's a pretty decent chance that might be him. I just realized this is a whale. Look at that. It's a fish. it's a fish. It's a fish ship. That's funny. Is that not Kaveh with the white shirt and it doesn't have blonde hair. It doesn't have blonde hair. It's like lightish grayish color. Come on, it's like 3 pixels. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. Dottore is a great pick to show up in Fontaine, though, for a couple of reasons. One, he has the dendronosis, right? So far we've got a pattern where we're starting to see noses get sort of delayed reveals, at least like one nation afterwards. Starting to see it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up and had the dendronosis and did something with it in Fontaine. But also, like, we've got all these mechanics. We've got potential Conria ties. I don't know if you guys remember, the Fontaine's power system is based on the Archie, and they talked about the Pneuma and the ousia. Is that how we pronounce it again? I forgot. Ousia. So we've got the Pneuma and the ousia, which are like part of the Archie, right? And the Archie was something that they developed as a result of studying Conrian technology. So having Dottore show up here is actually pretty on point. Syndrome obviously makes sense because of all the clockwork puppetry and also more Conrian stuff. And also potential hexenzirkel ties if we're anywhere accurate on there. I've already said my piece about why I think the hexenzirkel is going to show up here. And then obviously Arlecchino is heavily involved with the goings on. So we've got those three possibly, and I would love for Scaramouche. Oh yeah, no wait, and Child. There was four. And then we've definitely got Child showing up to do whatever the hell he's doing. He just likes to serve as a distraction for the Fatui. I think his job description in the Fatui Harbingers is just distraction. I think that's just what he's supposed to do. But I would love for Scar to show up and just like not elaborate on anything, because it would be really telling for us to see the effects of Irminsul on the Harbingers, you know, because he deleted himself, right? So like he's technically not a Harbinger anymore, and no one ever remembers him as a Harbinger, right? So it'd be really funny to see him interact with these Harbingers while he knows exactly who they are, and they have like a long shared history. He probably has individual grudges against each one, but they're just like, who the fuck are you? I just think that'd be hilarious. It would also be kind of on point, in my opinion, for Scar to start showing his sort of flexing his new position as the shadow soldier, so to speak, or bodyguard or whatever of the Dendro Archons, or the, you know, and since the Dendronosis would be with Dottore until it gets back to Snezhnaya, it might end up here in Fontaine if this little guy here on the left is in fact Dottore. So I think that's kind of cool.
Do you have any theories based on why Fontaine's continental plate is raised? I mean, it's probably the former hydro archon, but I'm still wondering why.
Yes. Actually, if you scroll back in the stream, I had a long kerfuffle about it. The long story short is, I went back to the first Golden Apple Archipelago, which was raised and lowered mechanically, based on some mechanisms that we blew up. I think Fontaine's actually quite similar, and I actually think that all of the regions in Tevat are quite similar, where they kind of could be individual mechanical pieces like this, so to speak. Went into way more detail with some footage if you scroll back a little bit earlier in the stream, if you're interested. But thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciates a lot of that. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. Well, why raised and not how raised? They said why, right?
Like it's an opera?
Didn't they say why? I mean, they said why. I thought they said it was because I think they said that it was raised because Fontaine has experienced a flood, and this was like their way of not experiencing floods anymore.
To the people of Fontaine, the line between a trial and a performance can be a little blurred. Welcome, one and all, to the Opera Epiclese. Watch carefully now.
Yeah, so I remember them saying in the live stream that this is actually the courthouse too. So they've got a stage and a theater in the courthouse, and Lenny also doesn't have his little vision there.
Blink and you might miss it.
Which makes sense, because apparently the symbol of Fontaine is that building. So if it's the courthouse, then that's sensible.
Step right up.
Wait a second. Hold on. Lore relevant combat. This. I didn't really think too much about this when it showed up, but this must be the Pneuma or the ousia mechanic, right? That's so interesting that it basically drops a nail on the enemy. That's very interesting. So if you don't know why that's interesting, all right, let me just make one thing kind of a little clear. In Gnostic mythology, the Pneuma is kind of like a very, very important celestial thing. It's part of the Sophia, right? Well, the Sophia is what created the demiurge who created the whole world, right? So like people are all said to have like a spark of the divine within them, and that divine is supposedly Sophia. So I'm looking at this and thinking about lore relevancy for like Celestia, why they would drop nails specifically, and if their power is at all related to this kind of thing, that would make sense.
Step right up. And over here is my sister Lynette, who will be.
I just
working
love
as
that they
my
did their
wonderful
introduction
assistant.
together. I just think that's cute. Wait, there was a cool line there. Hold on.
Wonderful assistant.
The firmament glimpsed in a reflected moon. Interesting. I don't know what to make of that.
Step on up.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you can see another one right here. Here's another sword. You know what's interesting? These kind of remind me of the twins' swords, don't they? Don't they kind of look like the twins' swords? Like, you remember in the We Will Be Reunited quest, like, where the Abyss Twin shows up and they've got, like, a sword that's covered in exactly this type of energy, right? And it's the sword from the very beginning of the game. And the Traveler's sword is always glowing in gold whenever it enters into these special moment cutscenes or whatnot. I'm not saying, like, the shape of them. Okay, to be clear, I'm not saying that the shape of them is the same. I'm saying that these actions remind me of them, right? Yeah, it's more like the colors and the effect and stuff. And I'm looking at them as like polar opposites, right? Because right here, we've got two twins. They've got two opposites elements. One's got Pneuma, one's got ousia, right? One's in gold, one's in violet. And we have the exact same thing with the Traveler twins, right? Because we've got the Traveler who's in gold and we've got the Abyss twin who's in violet. Has an Abyss light always been a thing? I mean, yes. But I think it's quite interesting that the way that the Pneuma and the ousia manifest is as swords. Okay, so I'm not looking at them so much as being like, oh, look, the shape of this sword is the same as the shape of this sword. I'm looking at it like, why are these two opposing powers manifesting specifically as swords? And you could argue in Lynette's case that it's like, oh, well, she wields a sword, so obviously it would be a sword. That makes sense. But in Linny's case, he's a bow, right? Like, why would he use a sword? Why would he drop a sword on them? It does have to do with the different visions, you're right, but that's not actually what we're talking about here. Swords of Justice, perhaps? Yep. But remember what the Celestial Nails do? I mean, they're basically delivering justice that's as Celestia sees fit, right? I don't think it's actually a weapon-related thing, like that these sorts of things will the animations will change based on the weapon that you have, because you can actually get this effect in the overworld by activating certain little totem things. So does Fremine have any footage? He does. We'll keep going.
Let the magic begin.
Here comes the finale.
I love this stupid cat. I'll get to Fremine, but see, this has such hexenzirkel vibes for me. This house. I mean, it's just vibes. 100% just vibes. It just reminds me of like a Hansel and Gretel in the woods kind of thing. And this, someone mentioned on Discord the other day that this here reminded them of Smurf houses, and I am inclined to agree. I know this is the Melazine village. They just Also, yeah, I agree that this reminds me of a Smurf village.
I want to spend some time at the bottom of the sea in peace.
All right. Alone under the cold light of stars. Okay.
Getting gear. Going under.
I don't see him using the thing.
If you look up at the sky from far enough underwater, even the sun is soft on the ice. These fossils are all that's left of these beautiful creatures.
Any thoughts as for why Lynette is the only sibling with animal ears?
Yes. Like someone mentioned earlier, it could be that it's like a recessive gene sort of thing. But I'm actually, how do I put this? One crack theory that I have in regards to her ears is that I think okay, so the siblings here should have been taken in by Arlecchino in the House of Hearth like forever ago, right? Like when they were young. We know that they're orphans because only orphans go to the House of Hearth. And because Linny is the one that has like the most upbeat outgoing, hyperactive sort, not really hyperactive, that's a bad word for this. He's dealing with like a really upbeat, charismatic sort of personality, right? His two siblings are very how do I say, extroverted. There you go. Yeah. Extroverted. Yeah. Words are fun. His two siblings are much more subdued, right? They're much more chill. I think Lynette has more energy than she lets on. She's just a bit more deadpan. But Fremine just seems to be someone who's just like always on a very even keel kind of thing, you know, like he's just very steady, low, not low energy, but low displayed energy. So what I was wondering, and again, completely crack theory, is if the siblings were found when they were quite young, and since Linny is the oldest, I wonder if they got into some trouble and Lynette and maybe even Fremine were dying or injured, and like as part of joining the Fatui, treatment was part of the whole, you know, package. And I wonder if Lynette is actually part something else at this point as a result of some kind of Fatui experiment, or if she was modified using some sort of cyborg type parts. Again, complete crack. We'll see. But it just seems like one of those things that would narratively work really well. Where Linny kind of like makes a really difficult decision in order to save the rest of his family. And then sort of takes responsibility for it. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, we paused on the frame that I wanted to talk about later anyway. So I don't know if you guys can really see this all that well. This is a very interesting oceanid here that's kind of guarding this tower, and the vibe it gives is very dragon-like. Like, you know, when this makes me laugh every time. You know, like it's this kind of a vibe. I'm not saying like it's this particular building or whatever, but like a dragon at the top of a tower, or like guarding a tower, or like clinging to a tower or a steeple or a castle or something like that is like a pretty common trope in fantasy. So when oh my God, when I saw this, I was just like, that is exactly what this reminds me of. And the head, like the way the head looks is very different from the oceanids that we've seen already. Like, yes, they've got some horns. Oh my god. Like, yes, they've got some horns, like just a little bit off the sides there. But if you look here, like they're much more pronounced and it feels much more sharp, you know? So it feels a little bit more draconic. There's a better quality of this screenshot in the PlayStation store. Okay. Oh my god. PlayStation. Okay. We click. Let's see these screenshots. I don't use PlayStation. Where do I find screenshots? Is this not the right thing?
Doesn't Diona say at one point that she inherited her traits from her dad? Wouldn't that imply that it might not be passed down at times from parents to children? So Lynette could have the genes, but not her brothers.
Well, her dad had... Lynette's... Diona's dad has cat ears. Right? I don't remember her dad's name. Don't remember her dad's name. Draff. He's cat ears. Oh my god. Genshin Wiki, stop being ridiculous. See, he has cat ears. He just doesn't have the tail. It's a blog. Oh, it's a blog. Oh, okay. Okay, I gotcha. But like, regardless, you're right. It could be genetic because, like, again, he doesn't have a tail, but he has ears. But Diona has obviously tail and ears, and also his feet seem to be more human than hers. So it could be NPC syndrome, or it could be that the genes aren't super consistent. Oh my god. I think it definitely could be a genetic thing. They've got some really nice screenshots on here, don't they? Love this one. I want to look at that one in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely pretty draconic-y. Just looking at the head shape. Yeah. Is it frozen? I don't think it's frozen. I think it's moving in the video, isn't it? Oh, maybe it's not.
These fossils are all that's left of these beautiful creatures.
Oh, no, it is. It is. It's moving. Well, it's not moving, but the water that makes up its body is moving. So I'll take that as it's moving. Look at this, though. Look at this one. That is a Durin-style heart if ever I saw one. Look at that. I can't wait to go here in person. Love that. Love that. That's cool. This is neat. Oh, so this is... Okay, this is the room that they... Stop it. This is the room that they filmed the live stream in. Like for the first third of it, right? That's really cool. So you can actually go here. That's really neat. Oh, they put a chair here just for me to Filmin. Oh, it's so nice of them. I don't care too much about this. Recruit the Fontaine siblings. I kind of want to look at around the city. I don't think that's really anything we haven't seen before. Yeah, it's just like the fountain and stuff. Oh, this was cool. I saw that they've added some new shaders to make the game easier to see, which I think is really neat. I think that's really neat. I want to scroll back up for a bit. This boss design is really, really cool. Really cool. And the fun thing is I feel like almost everyone is basically going to have to fight these guys at some point because I'm 100% sure this is Lynette's ascension material boss thing because they are wind and cryo. So Lynette and Fremina using these makes so much sense. And since Lynette is free and everyone's going to probably build her because she's going to probably be the only ousia user that we have, that, you know, makes sense. Oh, okay. I didn't realize this before. The courthouse is literally a stage. I don't know why that never clicked to me. So when we see Lenny here, like on stage,
To the opera epiclese.
right here, he's like legitimately right here, and these curtains up here just come down and hide the judge. That's really cool. So that that explains a lot of questions that I had. So you know this scene where Lynette just kind of vanishes and melts? Like she goes into this thing?
Gradually swallowing our memories.
Right here. So they are on stage here, putting on a performance in the courtroom. So this right here might be some kind of trial. So she goes in here.
It won't be long before it swallows us.
She goes in here.
We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice
And then this
operates.
is probably judging her. Right? So the curtains come up and then this scale thing judges her. That's really cool. That's really cool. Could Farina have both types of energy? I think that is why she has two different colored eyes. She probably has an affinity for both. Which would make sense thematically. A witch trial? I mean, if they bring in the hexenzirkel, I would totally buy that as a witch trial reference. But where does she go? She dissolves into water. The scales on there look just like Dvalin's tears. Yeah, you're right. They do. They're the same shape, yeah. Why was she judged like that? I don't know. We'll have to play and find out. You know? Man, this city looks really cool when you zoom out like this. Look at this. This is neat. And Fontaine's going to be deceptively big because, like, whatever you see on the surface, double it because you can go under it, under the water. Explore the whole thing. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. Oh, you don't think Lynette went into the scale? No, I don't think she went into the scale. I think she was judged by the scale. Which is different.
I think it's the same trick we saw them do in the first trailer. We saw Lynette coming out of a body water.
Oh, true. You're right. You're right. She did do that. That was the very first trick. She like popped out, and ladies and gentlemen, she did it kind of thing. So this must be a trick they do a lot. And then this time, this one time, something went funky. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Wait.
I didn't realize there was something there. So this is interesting. But this isn't Farina. It doesn't sound like her. Is that another Oceanid?
Wait. Who am I?
Agaria from the first trailer. Ah, oh, I wonder. Hold on, let's find out. Let's find out, let's find out.
My mission.
Because it goes Fremine and then they do this in order. So Agaria is right after Fremine.
The original sin is the fairest. Everyone sinks.
Hmm.
The original sin is the fairest. Everyone sinks.
Who am I'm... Wait. Who am I?
I don't know. It sounds a little like her. But the context is so different, I can't tell if that's because it's a different voice actor or if the voice actor is just in like two different states of mind when reading the two different lines. I can't, there's not enough here for me to be able to tell. It sounds like a guy sounds like a guy.
I'm... Wait. Who am I?
No, I know what you mean. A lot of younger male characters are voiced by females, by female voice actors. I get what you mean. Well, that makes things more confusing. Maybe. I'm inclined to say they're probably not the same voice actor here because the voice direction does feel different enough that I think it's probably, yeah. Yep, there she comes right out of the top.
Ladies and gentlemen, she did it! Seeing it.
Okay, I wanted to just really quick look at. Yeah, this is the exact same trick. Good observation. Because
We've been trying to find out how
if you
the
look at the
archery
machine,
We
or
want to
the
know-
box, I guess.
Is this part of the show?
You gotta be kidding.
Oh,
Charges.
these aren't good angles for this. You can see right here that this symbol here is the same as when she pops out of the water right here. So that is the same trick. It's one they do often. Ladies and gentlemen, she did not do it this time. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Same trick, but different box. I think it's the same box. It looks like the same box to me. What if Visionist Lynette is an Oceanid? No, I don't think there are visions allowed in the courtroom. And since this performance hall is the courtroom, which we can confirm from this screenshot here on the PlayStation blog, I just think they just don't have their visions in here. Why is it suspended in the air? For dramatic effect. I mean, we're seeing two different parts of the trick, right? Like this one, we're seeing the end of the trick where she comes out, everything is successful. The box is probably on the ground at this point. But in this one, she's just entering the box here. So it's still suspended for dramatic effect, and it probably gets lowered, you know. Lynette is going behind the scenes for getting more information. They're magicians trying to trick the audiences. It's all part of the show. I mean, yeah, it is. But you got to remember that there is the prophecy at the very beginning that says that people are turning into water, right? So Lynette may not be the only person to experience this. The box from the first trailer shows a shorter box compared to this one. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, they look similar enough.
The twins could be escape artist magicians like Houdini, who did the same water box trick. I wonder if they will escape judgment.
Yeah, that's possible too. You know, I'm actually wondering if there's a rumor that, based on that, right? If there's a rumor that people are dissolving into water, as they say at the very beginning.
When it began.
This one?
But a prophecy has been circulating around Fontaine.
They talk about this prophecy here.
The people will all be dissolved into...
The people are getting dissolved into the waters. So along that line of thought, if there are people who are getting dissolved into the waters, isn't it possible that these two, being magicians and showmen and everything, want to sort of like fake out everybody? So they put on a trick where it looks like she's been dissolved when she hasn't. But that doesn't mean that people aren't actually being dissolved. That sounds like something Hoyo would do. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's kind of neat. I think that's kind of neat. These guys kind of like, I'm not really one to like focus too hard on the boss lore, but this is such an interesting boss.
Gradually swell.
Well, he took off his hat. I didn't even notice that. The reason why I find this interesting is because they look like a bride and groom.
Following our memories.
And I've, you know.
It won't be long before it swallows us.
We've been trying to find out how...
The thing about the bride and groom comment that I mentioned, the reason why I find it relevant, maybe not to the particular plot of Fontaine necessarily, but just like in general. I just think about the Celia and the Traveler from afar and their wedding leading to the downfall of the moons and stuff like that. I think about it a lot. So, okay, when Lynette talks about the water swallowing us, and then later on,
It won't be long before
we have
it swallows
Navia
us.
talking about
We've been trying to
how
find
it's
out
raining.
how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately?
Rain.
This one. When Navia talks about it raining, I actually wonder if the rain is literally washing away people's memories. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Because see, in Genshin, it does not rain in towns. It never rains in the cities. Like, you'll never go into like Liyue Harbor or, you know, Mondstadt or anything and have it rain. It'll rain in the villages, but never in the cities. So for it to like have an emphasis on it raining in Fontaine, I think is quite interesting just from that perspective. But also because like I really do think that, you know, they might be dissolving people and dissolving their memories. And whenever it rains, that might be a sign that either a person has dissolved after a verdict has been delivered, or that the rain is literally, if you get hit by it, you could forget things. Yeah. Amnesia
We must know
shower,
all
yeah.
we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
Yeah, you're right too, though, that it could have something to, the rain could have something to do with just the fact that Fontaine floods. And we do know from Renee's investigation notes that like flooding was a serious issue and they're trying to avoid it over and over and over again. So there is that. Get brainwashed, Navia has an umbrella. Yeah. There is that, yeah. Yeah. There is that. There's one other thing that I thought was interesting. When it comes to this machine, I have to say that when I saw this the first time, I didn't think sentences meant judgment. I thought it meant literally spoken sentences, because we've had like this long slew of like AI and chat GPT talk. And so like when everyone says like complete sentences and they're talking about machines and machine learning, I'm just thinking, oh, it's like a large language model. Of course. So when I saw this, I'm just like, what do you mean why it can deliver sentences accurately? Like, why is it such a big deal that this thing is talking to you? And then I realized, oh, it's talking about judgments. Right. Okay. That that makes sense. Yeah. ChatGPT handing down crime sentences sounds terrifying. Listen, that is a distinct possibility. Like going into the future, like there are people who are trying to make that happen, and it ain't great. Like objectively speaking, it's not a great idea. But I thought that was funny. I had to share. But especially because we're talking about a machine that has a consciousness, right? And I don't know if you guys remember reading through Renee's investigation notes, but understand that one of the things that Renee and co were trying to do is create an energy source that had a will of its own, which is interesting, right? Because that was like its one criticism of Conrian technology and its power source. When it came to the Azosite, they were just like, well, I mean, like it's basically condensed elemental energy. It's portable. It's safe. It's I mean, it's a pretty good power source. It's convenient, but it has no ability to gain a will of its own. And so they kept going on about this will of its own thing. And that's kind of what led into the development of the Archie. And they did that by leveraging abyssal energy. And so like when we're talking about this machine almost that's being powered by an energy that can have its own will, like we're talking about like an AI.
Bosses are based on a ballet named Coppelia.
Oh, really? I do not know my ballets. First off, thanks for the super. Now it's time to look it up. I don't have the thingy on my thing. Interesting. So a doctor who has made a life-size dancing doll. It's so lifelike that Franz, a village youth, becomes infatuated with it and sets aside his heart's true desires. Swanhilda. Swanhilda? She shows him his folly by dressing as the doll, pretending to make it come to life, and ultimately saving him from an untimely end at the hands of an inventor. Oh man, that feels pretty on point thematically, doesn't it? Holy shit. Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't really want to read this right now. I'm going to save this for later. But I want to see if we can get a couple more images. I was just curious. That's interesting. That's really cool. That's really cool. Huh. It does sound a little bit like Sandrone and Dottore, you're right. To some extent. It does actually find a little it does have a bit of a what's the word? What's that Greek myth with the Galatea myth? Is it Galatea? I'm not gonna say that right. Yeah, this one reminds me a bit of this. But it does sound like it does sound like how do I put this? Do you guys remember at the end of my last Fontaine theory video where we were talking about Arlecchino and I was talking about was it that one? I've made so many Fontaine videos at this point. I can't remember. In the end, I threw in this crack theory about Sandrone actually being the doll that the robot created in the image of Guizhong. It has very much that kind of vibe, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Do I think Focalor is a Seal XP? No, I think she's Sinmal. I'll show you why. Focalor makes a lot more sense to me as Sinmal than Zila. Like, they even have the same little thing on their hip. It's the same vibe, similar haircut. They both have heterochromia. Let's see. There's actually one in particular. There's a version in particular. Oh, it's not gonna be on here. This is gonna be a pain in the ass, isn't it? Oh, I hate this wiki. Apologies, it's just a really terrible wiki.
The official image for 4.0 shows Focalor having only one color, not two. I wonder why?
No, it has two. It has two. So Sinmal has the two different eye colors as well. She's actually kind of Cheshire Cat based, which I think is fairly appropriate. The whole clock motifs and stuff like that. She has another outfit though in this one. She has this outfit here in particular, which I think suits quite well. I don't think Zila fits as well. I think Zila fits really well as the previous Hydro Archon. I think Sinmal fits better as the current one. Also, they feel like they have very similar personalities. Sinmal's kind of unhinged. so you know, it's fitting. It's very fitting. But yeah, Focalor does have heterochromia. Didn't Sinmal broke Branya's legs? I won't say that Sinmal's like a good person. Like at all. Do we know why Child didn't have his vision in the cutscene? Yep, scroll back in time. We've covered it already. Kind of unhinged is an understatement. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. Kind of unhinged. Yes. Indeed. Where is... We have other images of Focalor. I just don't remember where they are. Yeah, like she has two different colored eyes here. She's also got the little swirly up top. She's got the offset hat. She's got the thing on her hip, which we can see in that one new illustration of her. So like it's just big Sinmal vibes for me. Isn't Sinmal a math thing? I don't know. Sinmal is not in Honkai Impact 3rd. I mean, she is. She's not playable in Honkai, is she? I don't think she's playable in Honkai. I think she's just in the comics, isn't she? Yeah, I think she's non-playable in Honkai Impact, but she's playable in Gun Girl Z. But the thing is like a lot of these characters are based on GGZ, okay? Like we need to reference, we need to acknowledge the fact that Hoyo doesn't only love Honkai Impact. Like before Honkai Impact, there was Gun Girls, right? Or Hokai Third, I guess if you want to call it that. I don't like to say that because like if I say it too fast, it sounds too much like Honkai and then people get confused. So I don't like to do that. One thing I like to point out is that the design that they're using in Honkai Star Rail for Zila is actually one from GGZ. I know this is like an alternate universe Zila from it's not like the canon one inside of it, but like the design is from that game is only my only point here. Because like otherwise they look pretty different all the way around, right? So I like to just point that out whenever we do that. So one of her worst fits, yeah. Yeah, well, I ain't commenting on that kind of stuff, but I wanted to just talk about this. I was on this. The reason I was on this track is because it feels like a commentary on AI and kind of automating a judicial process and having everything kind of be binary of black and white and not allowing the gray to exist in between, which is kind of what I think thematically Fontaine is going to be about. Yeah. Yeah, this one. You can see her outfit here. It's just very simple.
The mechs in the wild give me strong pre-cataclysmic Kenrya Golem vibes, and it doesn't bode well emo.
Yeah, it does. First off, thanks for the super. I know what you mean when you say that. The, where'd they go? Maybe it's in the other thing. It might just be in the live stream. Unless it's in here. I still don't remember what's in here except for like the shots of the sewers. Yeah. It is very reminiscent of Conria in the sense that, like, it's a very mechanized place with a lot of these semi-sentient robots wandering around. Oh, it's coming up, actually. There we go. These. Because, like, look at these. These are actually quite interesting. Like, this one over here on the left does feel quite a bit like the crab, the Conrian crab monsters, like Karkata. Karkata or Kartaka? Oh no, I'm having a dyslexic moment. Yeah. That drilling animation looks so inappropriate. Look at the version 4.0 art, it only shows one color. I don't think that's true.
At a Shikai look at the version 4.0 art, it shows only one color.
For Focalor? What art are you talking about though? Like it doesn't just show one color. In fact, I can prove it. Take a look. Take a look. She's got dark blue on the outside and a white pupil. And over here, she's got light blue on the outside and a dark pupil. She's got 2 different colored eyes. This is the 4.0 artwork. They're not different. They are not different. You see? Yeah, it is just really hard to see because it's covered partly by her hair. But she has heterochromia for sure.
Fontaine seems to partially draw from Roman mythology. Focala's alternate name, Farina, is the name of a Roman goddess.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit when we were comparing Farina to the former Hydro Archon in terms of like power, scale, and all that other kind of stuff. What with the Amrita versus just being the goddess of a minor goddess of springs, really, which is what Farina is. She has such spoiled princess vibes. It's excellent. I really, this might be a hot take. I really want Nouvelette to be not necessarily her father, but like her father figure where he's babysitting and he's like the regent of the country and he's sort of raising this spoiled brat to rule. Like that's just kind of the relationship I want to see between them.
Do you think this law AI goes all HAL 9000?
HAL 9000. Oh, that's familiar. What was that? Oh, Space Odyssey. Yeah. I mean, maybe. God, I haven't seen this in forever. It's been ages. Ages and ages and ages and ages. I think that's realistic though. Yeah. Thank you guys for the super. I feel like I'm losing my thread every now and again. Raising her for 500 years is sheer patience of this man. Yeah. Yep. Did we notice the traveler getting a headache surrounded by robots? Yes, we did. There's just so much to like, there's so much in these trailers. There's a lot of little tiny details that are all really good. But this is actually one of the, okay, this, now that you bring it up, when we were talking about the Pneuma and ousia? Yeah, that one. I'm going to struggle with that. When we were talking about the Pneuma and the ousia being like fractured parts of the archy, I was actually wondering if that might play a role in what's causing Ether's headaches in this particular thing. Like I think the Traveler twins are quite sensitive to it.
God, it's a whole army of Gardamex.
For you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the gods.
That was Nouvelette's voice, isn't it? Oh yeah, of course it was.
Charges have now been pressed, and as such, a trial is in order. Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the gods.
Dear God, it's a whole lot.
Oh, he says guards, not gods. I didn't read the subtitle the first time. Yeah, that's funny. White blind Navia. Yeah, she's going to be a defense scaling geo unit for sure. I just really hope she's not a second Ito because like geo has such few, like almost no units in it anyway, that like to double up on the same type of unit feels terrible. So I really hope she's not that. We need her to be a Geo Nilu. That would be really cool. Not gonna lie, I would love that. To be able to go like crystallize nuts on it, that would be really, really, really cool. I would love that. I'd really love that. Because like that would be one way to make it a little bit better. It's like Nilu is one of the few ways to play a Bloom team really effectively. It would help Geo with AoE among other things, which would be nice. But they just need to make Crystallize better. Honestly, if Crystallize behaved a bit more like Bloom, I think it would be fine. Because then technically Goro would already have that ability, you know, like Goro could take, because he has the crystal collapse skill on his burst where he can like suck in the crystals and then make them explode. And he doesn't deal a lot of damage because no one builds him for damage, but like, you know, I feel like that would be interesting. Like it would be really cool if you could, for Geo to make it unique to Dendro, for example. It would be neat if you could have the crystallized shards, since they all have different elements in them, if they would explode with the element that they were. So if you made it an electro shard, then it would explode with electro. And if you picked it up, it would give you an electro shield instead. Like things like that would be kind of cool, I think. But I don't know if they'll do that. Yeah. If Nuvalet is from Conria, then him being 400 years old makes sense. Oh wait, I should wait for the auto thing. I gotta change these notifications. They don't really work well for me.
If Nuvalet is from Kenraya, then him being 400 years old makes sense.
He's not from Conria. I can almost guarantee this. I can show you if you like. He actually does not have Conrian eyes. I don't know if you can really see that here. He does not have Conrian eyes. He just has slits. That's part of the reason why I think people are suggesting he might be a bishop, right? Or a dragon in some way. Like he's got these pointed ears and he's got the slitted pupils just like a bishop. So I think people are thinking he's literally the Hydro Dragon. I am inclined to believe that. I'm in that camp right now. So, yep. Yep.
The Fontaine glider matched the Archon's eyes.
Did they show the Fontaine glider? I don't remember. I legitimately don't remember. Does anyone remember that? They didn't. Okay. They didn't show that. Well. Let's not have leaks in here, please. It's not so much that, like, I don't care about leaks or whatever. It's more like, let's just respect the people who don't want to know anything that hasn't been officially released. Like, this is kind of a minor infraction talking about a glider, but like, let's not mention anything else. Okay. Okay.
You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
Did they ever state what happened to the sovereigns after the Primordial One fought them? The Dragon King was killed, but did they ever say what happened to the others? They say that they submitted. I think it just straight up says they submitted. I think it's implied that one or two of them may have been killed, but not that all of them were slaughtered, because it says that like a lot of the bishops just retreated underground, right, into the Dark Sea. So a lot of them went into hiding, kind of like a pep. So, yeah. What characters am I most intrigued by and may pull for? Okay, like if Focalor is done well, like if they do Farina well, which I'm really optimistic with, then I'm very excited to pull her. I want her to be bratty to the point where she makes Scaramouche look tame. Like I want a completely problematic Archon here. I think she'll be pretty cool. Beyond that, I'm really currently only interested in Linny because Lynette is free, so I'm not pulling for Lynette specifically because we'll get a copy for free. But I really like Linny because he's so friggin' funny. And yeah, so there's those two that I'm probably most likely pulling for. If Navia does something really cool with Geo and her character is actually quite interesting, which it looks like they're setting her up to be quite interesting, then I will probably pull for her as well because I am a Geo believer. So that's 3. Hopefully Arlecchino is really cool. I think she will be, but because we haven't seen enough of her yet, I'll hold off on saying that I absolutely want to pull her. I'm like 80% sure I'll end up pulling her, but we'll kind of see what happens. I'm 50-50 on Nouvlet for right now. And beyond that, that's it. The rest I'm not particularly interested in. That could change. You never know. Yeah. I would pull all of the Harbingers too, except I just don't like Child, so I don't want to. So I won't pull him, so I'll never have a complete collection. No, Clorin. Yeah. So the thing about Clorin, I don't know if I'm saying her name right. I'm sorry. I'll figure it out before we get into Theory Town, I promise. The thing about her is right now, she feels extremely flat. And the more I see of her, the less interested I become. And that could definitely change. It's just that the amount of information that we have present about her is kind of like not interesting and not intriguing. And I haven't seen any of her personality yet. So I will hold no judgment on her until we get more about her. Because like I have a sneaking suspicion we're also going to get some witches. And like if there's one collection of a faction that I want to do, it's definitely collecting all of the hexenzirkel. So flat is in like a flat personality. Like I know she's really curvy. I ain't talking about that struggling button in the middle of her chest area. But we haven't seen her do anything, right? Like we haven't seen her. She hasn't said any lines. She's had the same expression in every shot we've had of her. And she's just, I don't know. Maybe they'll do something really cool with her. I don't know. So I don't want to say anything one way or the other about her. But like as it stands right now, I'm not that interested. That could change. Supposed to stream with Arlecchino. We've seen more from Arlecchino, which is sad because I actually think she's had less screen time at this point. Well, no, actually, she's had a little bit more. Arlecchino's had a little bit more. Arlecchino also has some world building and surrounding her. Like we have people's testimonials on her.
I hope that if Arla's playable, that they don't change her design.
Oh, I don't think they'll change her design. The thing about Skara's design is that they wanted him to go through like an actual transformation, which makes sense, especially if you've seen Evangelion, because Shinji also goes through multiple transformations where he shifts between battle suits and stuff, and he changes color schemes when he does it. So it's actually really funny if you watch Skara go through it because like there's similarities in what they did with him. So like for that one, it makes sense. But for Arlecchino, I don't think it makes as much sense for them to change her outfit. And if they do, I don't think they'll change it that much. I still really hope that one day we get Skara's Fatui uniform as a skin. I would love that. How did Skara get his vision? Did you not do his quest? Oh yeah, that's another thing. So when we look at Arlecchino compared to Signora and Skara, like Skara for the most part was meant to be viewed from multiple angles. More angles than Signora was. But I think no matter how you slice it, the veil would have become problematic, right? In a similar way that Signora's huge cape was problematic. But even then, you could kind of see maybe they were just planning on having him take off the hat or something like that, or swap out the veil for something else, which is kind of actually what they did. They just swapped the veil for like 2 ribbons instead. So you can kind of see based on designs who they're planning on making playable and who they're not. And Arlecchino has all the hallmarks of a playable character because she looks like she was meant to be designed to be viewed from 360 degrees from a player perspective, right? Like when it comes to character design in 3D spaces, especially when you're doing this type of a game where you're usually behind the character in question, the back design of a character becomes just as important as the front, because the player will spend almost more time looking at the character's back during gameplay than they will looking at their front. The front has to be appealing because like when you're interacting with the character, when they're in cutscenes, they have to like, I mean, you're going to be seeing it, right? But like when you're just playing a game, you can tell when a character has been designed to be looked at from behind. Like one of my favorite examples is actually from Fire Emblem Engage, because the main character, the main female character from that game was not designed to be viewed from the back ever. And you can just tell because she has no silhouette, right? She has 0 silhouette. She's 100% hair and cape. Like you take off her cape and she's just hair. You actually have to like remove all of her hair to even see her body. And even then, like the silhouette is not impressive or even remotely recognizable. You compare that to Genshin characters, and I bet you could play like the Who's That Pokemon game with Genshin characters because their silhouettes are very distinctive. And that is a sign not necessarily of good character design, but of thoughtful character design for the purpose that they will serve, right? Like you can design really good characters that look good from very specific angles. And in some games, if they only look at the characters from those angles, it'll be fine, right? Like if you're doing a 2D RPG, for example, right? And you're in combat, you only ever see the characters from like 3/4 view or whatever. To have that 3/4 view be the most impressively designed thing is totally fine. You don't have to make the backs of them be impressive. It's not like you're really going to be looking at them. But anyway, that's kind of this is a rant for another day, I guess. But it is part of the reason why all Genshin characters have 1 or 2 long flowing pieces behind them, so that they can have that flowy feel when you're running behind it. It helps give them movement. It helps add interest. It helps you not get bored when they're just doing nothing but running in one direction. So like when we look at Lyney and Lynette's outfits, for example, they're very simple compared to a lot of other Genshin outfits, but they're also very thoughtfully designed because like with their animations being very bombastic and having like a lot of these other flying around pieces, they only have 1 or 2 little dangly bits that help keep interest while you do it. But when it comes to someone like Freminet, for example, here, like part of the reason he has that huge bag on his back isn't just a stylistic choice, but so it can bounce. Like that bounce is important. This is kind of random, but do I ship anything? I mean, there are ships I enjoy. I'm not like a big front and center shipper thing. I'm kind of like enjoy whatever you enjoy. You want an official Genshin game where you guess back profile? There's a lot of people who make those little mini Genshin games like the Genshin GeoGuessr and stuff like that. I'm sure someone will make one. Risley looks too much like Sampo to me. Yeah, I mean he has very Sampo vibes for sure. What element do I think Arlecchino is? Pyro. I'll be surprised if she's anything but Pyro, honestly. Crack theory, Alice will be a Hydro character. Alice could be anything at this point. Alice could be absolutely anything. You could see her being Cryo. I mean, I guess I could see her being Cryo. But she just has like that red and black theme going on. I guess Senora did too, and she was still Cryo. I don't know. I feel like if they had two tall, big-breasted, mommy-type characters wearing white and silver and red and black be Cryo, it would feel a bit in bad taste, I guess. I think I'd rather her be Pyro, honestly. Alice, unknown god. No, I don't think she's unknown god. What is the personality type for Pyrovisions? I don't think it works like that. Plate elevation. Yeah, they did talk about the plate elevation. Under the influence of a mysterious flower, the entire continental plate of Fontaine is... This is actually... The one thing I will say about this, I'm still pushing the Golden Apple Archipelago theory here, but when they talk about plate elevation, I do think that it's interesting to think of each nation as being its own continental plate.
Can you explain the Tartaglia hate?
I don't hate him, I just don't like him. It's not... I don't dislike Child. All right, like I've made videos on him. I've talked about him. I think his lore is interesting. I don't hate his gameplay. Like it's not, I just don't really care for him. He's just not my type of character, you know? He's fine. He's just not special. How's that? If people don't like Child, they always like him. They'll like or dislike him for very different reasons. And mine is really just kind of, he's you know. Like, he's fine. He's got good moments. I don't mind when he shows up, but like, I don't really feel the need to pull for him or anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. Like, people absolutely adore him, and that's totally fine. Like, adore the shit out of him. Power to you. I like, do it. I ain't hating. I just personally won't do that. Why does Nikita say Catherine is a Snezhnayan puppet when the Adventurer Guild was created by the Hexenzirkel? That is a misnomer. The Hexenzirkel was not necessarily the one that created the Adventurers Guild. That is a theory that the Hexenzirkel is involved with the Adventurers Guild. What's canon is that the Adventurers Guild was founded, or at least it has its headquarters in Snezhnaya. So for them to be Snezhnayan puppets just makes sense. I love the use of sun. Oh, I gotta mention this before I forget. I need to go back to sunflowers for a minute. Sunflowers. No. Go back. Show me the flowers. Oh my God. There we go. Sorry. So here's a fun fact today. I don't know if you guys remember this. I've mentioned a few times that Fontaine's energy situation seems to be related to nuclear. I'm saying that because of like the Westinghouse thing and the way that the Archie seems to behave, the toxicity levels, pollution levels, things like that. I think there's a lot of little things that are just like, this radioactive theme feels more than vibes. You know what I mean? so in light of that, when I saw the sunflowers on here, I immediately thought about the nuclear stuff, and then I promptly forgot as we continued to watch because I was trying to read at the same time because subtitles. And then the thought just flew out of my brain. So sunflowers are actually used for environmental remediation of nuclear fallout zones. So places that have had a lot of nuclear radiation or exposure to nuclear activity often get planted with fields of sunflowers because sunflowers have the ability to sort of break down and render a lot of the effects of the radiation inert. So seeing a bunch of sunflowers surrounding the fields around Fontaine was just like, how interesting. I wonder if there's a bigger meaning there. Anyway, that's your fun fact for the day. Sunflowers are really fun when it comes to environmental remediation. They're really, really fun. In fact, environmental remediation and just like a whole mess of things, it's a really, really cool topic, I gotta say. They're using hemp to remove like PFAS from really heavily infected areas, which I think is amazing. You can actually fix a lot of heavy metal poisoning in old mining quarries and what do you call them? I think they're just called quarries. Yeah. You can fix a lot of the heavy metal poisoning and damage that you get from mining operations by planting a lot of lavender. Lavender is actually quite good for environmental remediation of that kind of stuff. And there are some people who are working on doing fungal remediation for PFAS and similar things, and oil spills, microplastics and stuff by using mushrooms to heavily colonize areas. So a lot of really cool stuff like that. But the reason why I wanted to bring that up in relation to the sunflowers is just because like there are two other plants that are like basically everywhere in Teyvat, and those are the mint and the sweet flower. And so part of me kind of wonders if to a degree if those are also sort of like an environmental remediation sort of thing, because mint is also one of those crazy things, and I'm not entirely sure about the sweet flower thing. I don't really know what the sweet flowers are based off of. One day I'm going to do a video where I just go through all sorts of plants and flora and fauna and ingredients and stuff like that, and then like give a couple of facts about its real world inspiration. I think that would be so much fun. I've got a whole notebook just full of them, but like, yeah. Oh, is there lavender? Oh, there. Wait, no, that's not lavender. Those are lupins, aren't they? Aren't those lupins? Those look like lupins to me. Lavender's, well, maybe it is. Maybe it is lavender. I think it's hard to see. It could be lupins or lavender. It's hard to tell from this. Mint is practically immortal. It can be. I have so much mint that I had grown from this one little like half-inch cutting of a root that I dug up from a field. It's taken over my whole front lawn, which is great though, because it keeps the wasps away. What's a lupin? Oh my God, you guys don't know what a lupin is? Why is that what comes up? No. These are lupins. These are lupins. Yeah. Come in all sorts of different colors, but purple is the most common. In my area, there's a ton of lupins, just like fields and fields and fields of lupins. They're really nice. Very toxic to horses. Don't let them go near them. Lavender, for comparison, looks quite similar. But it's much, 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 much smaller. Actually, I wonder if we can get a comparison. Oh, probably not. Like, why would someone do that? I guess. Why would someone do that? But yeah, like, lavender is very small. You can see it's got these really tiny little flowers, whereas lupins have these big kind of bulbs almost. They're a little bit different, but if you kind of like break them down to their like pixel format, they look very similar. The difference would primarily be in size and leaf shape, which we can't see. So There is that. Back to this. Anywho, did I pull for Kokomi? I did not. I'm saving my gems. I'm in saving mode. In saving mode. Are Lupins exclusive to NA? No, they're all over Europe. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're all over Europe. In every region, there's an Animo 5-star male character saving the traveler. Who do you think will save us in time? You know, the Venti blessing, may the wind bless your travels and all that. We haven't seen a male Animo character in Fontaine yet, so who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Am I free to play or a whale? I am a dolphin, I guess. I get BP and Welkin. I've only whaled for Wanderer, and that's it. But technically, I didn't even really whale because like I saved up for like 6 patches and then bought the difference. So I had like 89,000 primos before I purchased the rest. Other than that, I just stick with BP Welkin. We haven't been introduced to any Animo 5-star in this version yet, so it will be Venti himself. That would be very interesting if Venti showed up. That would be very, very, very interesting. Is Wanderer C6? Yes, he is. I C6'd him day 1. Have I seen the CN and Scaramouche drama? Do you think this affects how often he'll appear in the future stories? No. I don't. If you don't know what the CN and Scaramouche drama is, I won't get too into it, but basically it's just a bunch of psychos looking for excuses to be violent, in my opinion. To borrow the words of a friend. She put it so well. I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of it. People, I think, look for excuses to be horrible sometimes, but also all it tells me is that they lack complete media literacy. They have no literacy when it comes to any kind of fictional or really anything. You know, like it's just, I don't know how you can look at a fictional character and be like, I'm going to go commit real crimes today because of this one thing that someone wrote in a story. It's like, oh, okay. Yep. We're going to separate fiction from reality for you guys. Just hold still. I don't think it'll affect anything in terms of what Hoyo has planned for the story. Hoyo is not a cowardly company. Contrary to what a lot of people say. To be fair, like the entire game of Genshin is basically a huge commentary on why censorship is problematic in a surveillance state, which is effectively like the situation in China, but then also to that. And they're a Chinese company doing it. Like, it's a pretty bold thing to do. And then to, on top of that, use lots of cultures from around the world and portray them well. Also something that they do. Like, yes, we do have a melanin issue. Hopefully they'll work on that. That would be great. But like ultimately, like a lot of the cultures that they work with, they do a good job researching them, and they do a nice job presenting them and portraying underrepresented or completely unrepresented cultures and mythologies pretty well. So I wouldn't call them a cowardly company. I don't think they'd back down just because of something like this. I mean, they had people who tried to assassinate some of their employees because in Honkai, they had made some of the girls get some bunny skins, like some bunny girl skins. And like, how deranged does someone have to be like, oh my God, someone drew a picture of my favorite character in a bunny suit. I'm going to go commit murder. Like, what? So when we say skirmish drama in this particular case, what we're really saying is some psycho is using skirmish as an excuse to perform a violent act because they're unhinged. So, yeah. Promo vid, not a skin. Yeah, sorry. It was a promo vid. It was a promo vid like where they had one where they were like in wedding dresses and then they switched later to bunny girl outfits and like people got really pissed about it. And it was global only, still fucked up, yeah. I forget like all of the really little particular things that went on about it, but like that was like the TLDR. Basically, like someone tried to kill some Hoyo employees because bunny girls. There's the shot I was waiting for. Don't forget what happened is Korean the other week. I don't know what else happened. Hoyo also doesn't shy away from a lot of gay, there's a lot of queer coding in Hoyo games. They like to do that as well. They're working. They have some actually pretty decent representations of mental illness, which I appreciate. I think they've done they've done commentaries on. They do a lot of social and political commentaries, I guess is my point. So TLDR, I don't think that the whole skirmish drama really affects how often he shows up. I don't think they'll do that. It was a CEO they tried to kill from it. Yeah, it was DeWay. Yeah. Do I ignore spammers? It's not that. It's just like there's friggin' 2,000 people in the chat right now and I can't keep up with everybody. The word gay is still censored in chat though. Yeah, that's why I said queer coding. The thing is like it's so hard to separate Hoyo versus individual stances, like as a company and then as individuals and then like so on and so forth, from social and political circumstances just in and around China, and like then from business decisions trying to sell things. It's very difficult to separate those things and be like, oh, you know, like Hoyo versus pro LGBTQ or whatever. It's very difficult to just like come out and say something like that. Because you can't really separate every factor out and use it as absolute proof that they're one way or another. But the one thing you can do is say they are doing X or they are doing Y or they are doing Z. And you have to recognize why they might be doing X, Y, or Z and then just interpret that how you will, right? Like maybe they're doing the queer coding because it sells characters. Like they definitely might be doing that. That is 100% true. Does that invalidate the idea that they might also be supportive of LGBTQ rights? Who knows? That's kind of impossible to say. You know what I mean? So I think it's complicated. But I do hold the stance that they're very brave. Yeah, like you said, it's Miyaji, they're very brave as a Chinese company. That I will say, like, even regardless of like ethical, moral, whatever stance on any issue, the fact that they even go for the issue in question is definitely brave. That I will say. What? Okay. The amount of propaganda people have swallowed and internalized about China is crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's a big socio-political clusterfuck of history and economics, among other things. it's very difficult to get a clear handle on anything that's going on. So you really just have to interpret things how you will in your own sphere, because like you can't track down the truth. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. The Broke Boat Mountain scene notes in Bottleland. Was that a Brokeback Mountain joke, or was it like actually saying it's a broken boat? Because I remember someone saying it was like a mistranslation, but it happened to just be hilarious. But I can't. Yeah. I actually can't confirm it. So, either way, it's really freaking funny. Anyway, one thing I saw on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious, was these otters. And someone pointed out that these otters like literally look exactly like Nouvlet. And I thought it was hilarious. Because yeah, like they even have like the little blue stripes on the back of their head. They've got the same hairstyle, the same color palette. And this was just like the funniest freaking thing. Like going through the trailer and then realizing, wait a minute, this guy might not even be a bishop. He might just be a friggin' otter. But I thought it was even funnier because, like, you guys know how we have like the whole Kokomi thing about like Kokomi being a sleeping dragon, and like whether or not she's the Hydro Sovereign is completely irrelevant. The point is like her story is supposed to be she's the koi fish that hasn't jumped over Dragon's Gate yet, so she's like something that precedes the dragon stage, right? She's not a dragon yet, but she's turning into one eventually, hence sleeping dragon. But her theme is all pink and coral and pink oyster shells with pearls in them, like the Sangonomiya pearls, right? And I think it is so funny then that we've got Nouvlet, who people are really suspecting, including myself, of him being a bishop or a dragon, right? Because he's got the pointed ears and the slitted pupils and everything. And then he looks like this friggin' otter. And this otter is juggling this little pink shell. Look at him. He's juggling this little pink clamshell. And I'm just like, that is Watatsumi Island's like shrine right there that you're tossing up and down. What are you doing, man? Anyway. I thought that was funny, and I had to share. Anyway. Otter Nouvlet agenda. Oh, these. I found these the other day. I found these. These are like this, these are an actual type of bird. Look at these. These are real birds. The Gloucester canary. Yeah. Aren't these cute? These are so cute. They're so ugly, but they're so cute. But I think that's what these are supposed to be. That kind of finch. Anyway. About to play an 80s synth. Yeah. Was there anything else that was kind of... Oh, these were all the events and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, Heart of the Sea. Oh, yeah, Kokoro Heart. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny. Anyway. I think that's all I have for right now. Lots of shipwrecks. Look at the map they showcased during the mini-map segment. Which one? The sea slug people might be wearing wigs. I hope they're wigs, because they look really freaking weird. Which mini-map segment you were talking about, Alex? But yeah, the floating water cubes too. Those are interesting. But you know what? That kind of like supports the hypothesis that there might be things inside of the sustainers cubes. You know? The one near the end. Or is it near the end? Okay, we can go look. Hold on. I will assume it's before. Okay, it should be like around here. Okay, what are we looking for? What are we looking for? Man, look at this map. Autominiqua. That's probably not how you say that. Interesting. Oh, hey, look, there's a dragon head. Look at that. Look. Looky, you see him? You see him? We've got another Inazuma situation. Look. There's a head. And then that must be like ribs. Is this a tail? You could see the dragon's skull underwater somewhere. Oh. Well, there's... Well, okay, so they did... In Enkanomiya, they did say that Hydra Sovereign would be reborn as a human. So, like, that does mean that it was dead. Because, like, it has to die before it gets reborn, right? I saw the IGN gameplay teaser, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Wait a minute, like, the entrance to this is the dragon's mouth. Look at that. You can go inside. So these are his guts. This is his intestinal tract. Wait, why is his tail all the way over there, then? Why they hate dragons, though? I don't think they do. I think that's not quite the point. Tune back in. Check in with me on the 15th. I'll be releasing the Project Tevat video on the 15th. During maintenance. So you guys will have something to watch. I am so happy for this. I can finally navigate the mausoleum without getting totally lost. I've finished the mausoleum area. I just really like it, and I kind of forget where I am. Oh yeah, you're right. The I forgot. That must be where this is. Hold up. Let me close some of these tabs because I'm... You're right. So this right here, this pink spot must be this, right? Does that make sense? So like it's another actual dragon heart. That's cool. Neato. I like it. I like it. That's neat. Cool. It said village there. Oh, is that the Smurf village thing? That must be the Melazine. Wait, that would mean the Melazines might be descended from friggin' dragons then. So they're like Aranara, but wait, no, they're like the fungi things. They're like the fungi things. Yeah. Hold on. Let's bring back the PlayStation blog. So they had a picture of this, and I don't want to go scrubby scroll through it. Or did they have a picture of it? They didn't have a picture of it. I lied. Nuvlet commands in Melazine, right? Maybe. I don't remember. France actually has snail dragons. That would explain this over here was kind of like spirally thing. Because it kind of looks like there's bones over here. There's some bones right here. There looks like there's bones here and here. So like, I don't know quite how this thing... yeah. Snails don't... It's a dragon snail, though. It's a dragon snail. And so it could have bones. Maybe it exploded. Dude! The hell? What? Why do you want this to explode? Rude. Where's the head? The head's right here. You see him? You see the head? It's got the little spikies. And then little nose. Like a turtle. I guess it does kind of look like a turtle. What are those? Spiky turtle head. Yeah. Not exactly what I was thinking. I can't remember their name. But it probably was something along these lines. Alligator snapping turtle. That thing's terrifying. That thing's terrifying. Actually terrifying. S shape. Yeah, okay, I could see an S shape. Why can't it be the 16th already? Because I need time. I need time. Anyway. Oh, you made it underwater? So underwater treasure goes auto into your inventory, but from the footage they shared, it looks like items fall out of the chest. I did it? I don't remember that. In the PlayStation one, I thought it, or the IGN one rather, I thought it didn't. Let's go back here. I forgot where my tab was, so. How many videos do they release a friggin' day? Jesus. How does anyone find anything? I guess that's not the point. I thought it went straight into the inventory when we saw Lynette swimming. But I can't remember if that was in the IGN footage or if it was actually in the other footage. Because there's some scenes. Hold on. I'm looking for something specific. Don't mind my jumping. There it is. This is what I remember. This chest over here. That they're gonna go get in a minute. Go, 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 go. Swim! Oh my god. Yeah, there he goes. So, I mean, like, it doesn't seem like they fall. It doesn't seem like they auto go in either, but like they kind of just sort of float in the area. So that's not too bad. But yeah, they seem to stay in place at least, so that's nice. Yeah, it seems to stay in place, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Oh, I love these. These are great. I love how Alhaitham is just standing there. Everyone else is striking a cute little pose, and Alhaitham's just like, what? Really? You're getting nothing from me. I will give you nothing. Ah, he's great. Lore accurate Alhaitham. Yeah, exactly. Posing is unnecessary. Yep. Oh yeah, I know. The Guoba pose is so cute. Guoba's like ready to punch somebody. He's like gonna do kung fu. And then he goes into combat and he just eats. I love it. It's great. All right, I think I'm out of juice for now. I think I am out of juice. No juice left for me in my system. I can't wait though. This patch is going to be really good. I'm actually really excited about this. I know there's a lot of people who are concerned about, you know, stuff like the new mechanics being really restrictive for combat in the Abyss and stuff like that. I get that. I'm withholding judgment until I see it in action. Because like sometimes unique mechanics require something because it's too difficult to work with otherwise. And then sometimes it's like, I mean, it's much easier if you have it, but you don't really need it, kind of thing, you know? So like it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I also just can't imagine that they're going to limit everything to Fontaine characters. Like they must put into weapons or something, or like retroactively add Pneuma or ousia mechanics into stuff. You know, like I feel like they'd have to make it at least some level accessible. So I'm not too fussed. I don't know. I guess I just view Genshin so much as like an archaeological game where I just like to explore and see new things and experiment and have fun, that I'm kind of like, yeah. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't bother me as much. I'm really excited for Fontaine. Genshin's come a long way and we're getting underwater exploration, so I'm super happy.
If the rain removes memories, the traveler would be immune to that, right? Also, Folklore has 2 different color gloves.
Yes, she does. Thanks for the super. If the rain removes memories, a traveler would be immune to that. I don't know if that's true. The only thing we know is that the traveler's memories can't be altered by Irminsul. But we've never heard of any other power not being able to tamper with their memories. So I think it's possible that, you know, I think it's possible that their memories could be affected. This room looks just like the thing from Bottleland. The library is from Bottleland, doesn't it? Like the room the orchestra's in. Unrelated to Genshin, but we also cover HSR lore. I really want to know your view on Danheng and Blades Past. It's funny you say that. I just finished recording the script for that. I'm gonna release. Let's see, what's my schedule for that? Either on the 7th or 8th, I'm gonna put out the Honkai Star Rail video, which will be talking about the High Cloud Quintet. So Blade, Danheng, Jingliu, and Jingyuan's past. That was a hell of a time to put together. I do cover Star Rail lore. It's just that like Star Rail's still really young. We're still learning about it, and there's not a whole lot that I have the bandwidth to cover yet. I'm trying to get a little bit better. I've recruited another editor who edited yesterday's video. I forgot to put their name in the credits, in the description box. I meant to do that. I'll go ask them today to or what they wanted to put in there. Crap, I forgot. Well, they forgot too. I'll put it in there. Yeah, so I've recruited one more editor. So hopefully that will help offload a little bit, which means I can write more scripts, which ultimately means more content and theories for you guys. Cause like I always have way more that I want to share that I just don't have the bandwidth to produce. So how could I forget? Listen, this is what happens when I post things at like 2 a.m. How many editors do I have? I have 2 right now currently. Including the new one. I have TXR, who is able to basically take maybe 1 video per patch off of my hands, and then I've just onboarded Harley, who will take on an undisclosed number. We haven't talked about it yet. It'll depend on their schedule. It'll depend. But regardless, even getting like 1 or 2 videos taken off my plate for editing wise is really, really helpful for me. So how expensive is membership? It's like $1. It can be anywhere from like $1 to $3. I did the 3 because some people asked to be able to donate more. So I added the 3 tier. But otherwise it's like $1. We're still missing a ton of the High Cloud Quintet lore that I'd imagine will get filled in 1.3 with Jinglia's release. Would you potentially do an update video with further information? Yes, I will. I will do an update / correction video because this has some theories and hypotheses in it. So we'll see if they pan out. That's kind of the goal, because I do think that we'll learn that in like 1.3 and going on. So, have you ever watched Scrapped Princess? No, I haven't. The Videodara homeland has architecture that is exactly like Enkonomiya. What do you think about it? Given that and the fact that their eggs are pearls and inside of you know, these pink lotus corally flower type things, plus all of the symbolism there, I definitely think Hoyo is going for something quite thematic there. We'll talk about it, I promise. Is Star Rail connected to Genshin? No, but yeah, but no, not really. Kind of. Not enough that I would give you a definitive yes. How's that? There's some like little tiny things that might potentially be connected at some point, maybe in the future, but like, will you be able to start playing the game and immediately see any connections? Probably not, no. Same Honkai verse, not connected. Yeah, I mean, mostly. So they have the potential to be able to cross over a little, but like, you know, not explicitly connected. The glider from Tevat is in the space station. Yeah, and like there's some other little Easter eggs from other Hoyo games in there too. These are like the coolest instruments. I've never seen anyone play a water wheel. I've seen people play the wine glasses. I've never seen anyone play a water wheel. It's so cool. Does membership support me directly or does YouTube get a cut? YouTube gets a cut of it. But you get a little badge, you get access to some emojis, you also get Discord access. So like you get a lot of perks for doing it. If your interest is just to support me directly, you can donate via my Ko-fi account, which is on my profile, but like it's not something I promote. Like YouTube doesn't get a cut if you do that, but like it's really not a big deal. It doesn't bother me that much. In any case, would I ever work with a game studio to develop their lore? I feel like I'd probably never get that opportunity. I'm probably more inclined to just make my own game at that point. Do I work another job besides YouTube? Yes, I am a full-time web developer. YouTube is my side thing. Recently watched the Sevi Talks episode and got to know that you're also into game dev in a way. Being a game dev myself, I'd love to collaborate when you grow in your career. Well, thanks for the offer. I started in comics and then I switched kind of to starting to make games, and then YouTube took off, and so my game kind of like started taking a bit of a side thing, and by the time I get back to it, the tech is going to be completely outdated and I'll have to start over anyway. But I'm working on it slowly. Slowly. How are my shrooms? They're dead. I was doing a different experiment. It didn't work out. I'm going to grow a different type of shroom because I learned that pink oyster mushrooms have the most spores of any oyster mushroom. And that's probably why they got in my lungs. So I'm going to switch to yellow. Anyway. When I grow in my career, not me. No, it's not. You don't need to grow in a career. You just need to be like, I want to do a thing. And then you just do the thing. You know, like I won't say that my career is particularly impressive. New spores, new coffee. Yeah, exactly. I'm so sick of coffee. Jesus Christ. Anyway. I'm currently studying comp sci and showing an interest in going into web dev and game dev. That would be fun for you. I actually studied usability design. So I was a UX designer initially, but like when I got out of school, there was no need for people to hire UX people. They just didn't want them. And so I ended up doing web dev work, and I'm just now stuck here. So yeah. Do I think anyone's going to die during the Fontaine story? I hope so. I hope lots of people die in the story, not outside. That would be kind of horrible. But narratively, it'd be interesting. Do I think the new elemental system mentioned in the stream could become somehow mandatory? Like you have to use regional characters like in the Spiral Abyss? So for exploration, no, because they already said that it's basically just going to make life a little bit easier because you'll have access to them. Just in your party, you can just swap to them automatically. But like with in somewhere in this thing, they mentioned that you can basically find a totem, kind of like when you get the little electro thingy in Inazuma or whatnot, or like the dendro. I'm not good at wording today. The little dendro things that you can shoot at the big dendro floaty symbols in Sumeru. You know what I'm talking about? Like those little things. The dendrogana, those things, and the electrograna. Like those. They basically were saying that like they have those all around Fontaine for the Pneuma and ousia thing. So you can solve puzzles and defeat enemies with those if you don't have the character. So I don't think it's mandatory for exploration. I just think it's going to be easier if you have them. But again, like I said, I'll be really surprised if they don't like make it accessible in other ways and not just characters. Like if they have additional weapons effects or artifact sets or something like that that will also give that effect that you can equip onto other characters. I'll be very surprised if they don't do that, just from an accessibility standpoint. So that's one of the reasons I don't think it'll be as big of a deal in the Abyss if it goes in there, because I personally think that they're going to try and make that a bit more accessible. But it'll be easier if you got the characters. But there are other ways to do it. There just might be a little clunkier. So like, for example, if they added it to a weapon and you went, oh yeah, see here, it's right here. You can just pick it up. They're just kind of like sitting around. So they could even just put that in the Abyss, right? Like they could have these orbs show up in the Abyss, like periodically, and you have to pick them up and then do an attack and use it on the enemy, right? So I'm not concerned, really. What does a web dev do exactly? I build websites. And then you're forced to use said weapon? Yeah. I mean, that would be the downside if they attach it to a weapon or an artifact set. Then you're kind of married to it, at least on one character. But like generally, you can have one support character or something that doesn't really care too much about what weapon they have. So it might not be that big of a deal. But yeah. Just like the Dragon Spine Abyss from 1.0. Yeah, close enough. What part of web dev do I work on, or do I just do everything? I am a full stack developer, so I do back end, front end, I do usability design, I do user testing, and I do basically everything because I am the only web developer in my company. And my company has 8,000 people in it, so that's fun. Hacking NASA with HTML. Oh yeah, sure. I'm gonna use a markup language to hack. That sounds brilliant. What do I need to hold that power, Dev? I don't know what you mean. How do I play Genshin still? That sounds like a lot of work. Because even though I say I'm a full-time web developer, I have actually a really nice deal with my company where I actually am only on the schedule to work 20 hours a week. So I get paid flat 20 hours a week every week. And then if I'm in crunch time or anything, like when you hear me say like I'm really busy recently, or like I have really big projects to work on, or I'm on a business trip or something, like usually what that means is I'm in crunch time. So I'm actually going into my overtime hours. So I can work up to 40 or even sometimes 50 hours in a week if I have to, because again, I'm the only developer in my company. So if I don't do it, then no one else can or will. And But most weeks I'm working 20 hours, 20 to 25 hours for them. And then I work on Genshin the other half of the time. Or, well, I work on videos the other half of the time because now Star Rail's in there. So it's not just Genshin. So there's that. So I'm pretty flexible in that way, which is nice. But, and I do, before anyone asks, I do get paid for those overtime hours. I get paid hourly on the overtime hours. So it's like, it's not a thing. So I do have to prioritize my work when it comes up. It's usually fairly easy to predict. I've had a couple of instances this year where we've basically hit crisis mode and I haven't been able to predict that, and it threw everything into chaos. And that's why there was like a month where I didn't upload anything, is because I just couldn't. I like legitimately had zero. I just couldn't. They don't want to hire more people. Well, I mean, if I'm only there 20 hours a week most weeks, they can't justify having another person. So is there lore in the ads? I don't know. This ad was so weird. I really like it. It's just so weird. Was it working with Azure? No, I work on Linux and PHP mostly. Why does the Electro Lady walk with the robots at first and then fight them? I think because she's actually leading them at first, because she is law enforcement. And then later on, maybe they go berserk and she has to put them down, right? Like she has to take them out. I think it might be something a bit like that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go because it's basically lunchtime and I'm really hungry. So I'm gonna go eat. But this has been fun. I know I haven't covered everything. Someone else mentioned that Cat with Blue Hat did I can never remember if it's Cat in a blue hat or Cat with blue hat. Well, Cat, blue hat cat. I'm gonna call him Blue Hat Cat now. Blue Hat Cat has one of those 20 things you missed from the trailer and live stream things, which might have some interesting lore bits in there. I haven't looked at it yet, but somebody has recommended it, so I will recommend it because yeah. Usually he has some really good stuff, so I assume that this time will be no different. Anyway, I will be releasing a video on the 7th or 8th, another one on the 11th, and Project to that is scheduled for the 15th. So you guys will have plenty to watch during maintenance for 4.0. I hope you guys are really, really excited. I'm excited. I was not excited for France at first, and the more I started researching it, and then this live stream, like I basically had most of my worries kind of quelled. I'm actually pretty stoked to be going back and diving back in here. So hope you guys have a really great Saturday. Thank you so much for showing up. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.